But first today, there's been yet another teaser of that ITV interview with Prince Harry.
Some people will say you have railed against invasions of your privacy all your life. But the accusation will be, here are you invading the privacy of your most nearest and dearest without permission. That'll be the accusation.
That'll be the accusation from the people that don't understand or don't want to believe that my family have been briefing the press.
If you're invited to the coronation, will you come?
There's a lot that can happen between now and then. But, you know, the door is always open. The ball is in their court.
Oh, I know. You can do it. Go on. There you are. The full interview with Tom Bradby airs on ITV1 and ITVX this Sunday. And it comes amid some fresh allegations from Prince Harry today, which are included in his book. He says his brother William physically attacked him during a confrontation about Meghan at Harry's house in London back in 2019. What were the details of it?
Well, Harry was living in Nottingham Cottage in the grounds of Kensington Palace at the time. William came to see him to just sort of talk about, you know, I think he said something like, this is rolling out of control. And he basically said to Harry that he found Meghan to be difficult, rude and abrasive. And Harry said, you are peddling a press narrative. And it just sort of escalated from there, really. And then he said that William grabbed him by his collar, broke his necklace, shoved him, and he landed on what was probably a china dog bowl, and it broke on his back. And then William kind of said, come on, fight back like we did as brothers. Harry refused, he says. William then was a bit more reconciliatory and said, apologised or whatever, but then went off and that was that. And, I mean, the biggest revelation in it for me was that William calls him Harold and he calls William Willie. Harold and Willie. But, you know, when I read it, I just, you know, I mean, listen, nobody condones violent behaviour, but it looks like it was a bit of a tussle and a shove and a whatever. My friend, my very close friend, who I go on holiday with every year, has got 3 sons, and they spend their entire time fighting. But what's happened here is that they don't go to the media with the details of that. And I just think, you know, all of us as mothers on this panel, I would be devastated if one of my children, what if both of my children were doing this in public, in such a public way? I just feel it should be dealt with behind the scenes. We're also only getting one side of the story.
Well, yeah, that's what I was
We're not going to get William's side, probably. And, yeah, I mean, he says, I want reconciliation, but is this really the way to get it?
But there are so many bits of detail that have been released, both in leaks from the book and both with, obviously, the promo for the ITV show that's going to be on Sunday. And there were so many little bits and pieces that we could go through surrounding it. But what was interesting about the fight was that Harry claims that Will had asked him not to tell Meghan about the fight. So Harry didn't tell her originally. He went and spoke to his therapist first. And one thing that brings to mind for me is that it feels like it's been between a rock and a hard place, because he tells Meghan what happens. Meghan then could dislike William even more. If he doesn't do what William has asked, that can make the animosity with them even worse. And it could be a part of him that still wants to protect his brother when it comes to, you know, the truth of their relationship to his wife.
I just don't know why didn't William want him to tell Meghan if he hated Meghan so much and, you know, was prepared to fight his brother over her behaviour? Why was he bothered about him telling
Maybe
Meghan?
because he knew it would be weaponised and monetised.
Well, he shouldn't have done it then, should he, really?
But it is, I mean, we've all got kids and we all know how kids can fight. To me, it seemed a little bit like, for use of a family that we hear so much about, also the Kardashians. It felt a little bit like watching the Kardashians in, but as the royal family, it felt a little bit like that.
I think
I think my friend used the phrase, they are just a little bit of a hot mess.
Yeah.
I think all brothers and sisters fight. Me and my sisters used to fight all the time, normally over clothes, because I'd buy something and one of them would wear it or whatever. And my kids used to fight. I mean, my youngest daughter, Bobby, and her brother, Louis, used to kill each other. She actually sharpened a pencil one day to stab him with it. So I said that was premeditated, what she did. It really was. But we all do. I mean, I used to be scared of my sister Tina because she had such a temper. I remember running into the bathroom, locking the door, sitting on the floor. She lit matches and flicked them under the door to try and set fire to me. Honestly, but it's just what kids do.
It is, but we all, you know, but we also wouldn't condone violence.
No, we wouldn't.
I used to have a cushion that my mum called the Debbie cushion. My sister and I are incredibly close, but I used to get so angry as a kid with her. My mum gave me a cushion to punch instead of punching my sister, so... And then I've just moved on that to husbands over the years, just changed the name on the cushion. But
if Debbie, for example, you know, because you're in the public eye, if Debbie, for example, had gone to the papers and done a big "My horrible sister Denise" for money, because let's not put it, you know, this is for money. This is to sell a book.
Yeah.
How would that affect your relationship?
I'm never going to change my views about the Harry and Meghan situation.
Harry and
Meghan.
Or Harold.
Harold and Meghan. I've supported them since day one. I've been aware from very early on, and I've said it on this show, of the different narrative towards Kate and the different narrative applied to Meghan from quite early on. So, and I always think that Harry had the whole thing from his mum's funeral. He was aware that whatever Meghan's been through with the press and the royal family, she's had Harry, who, whatever people say, clearly loves her. Diana had nobody, right? And you know, you went on many royal visits with her, so I'm always quite surprised that you're
Diana was a lot more of a smarter cookie than you're giving her credit for.
But I just think that she went through a lot with the royal family, and I think there's a light being shone on behaviours which have to change. And when you are that age and being made to walk behind a coffin when you know your dad has been unfaithful to your mother, and I've been unfaithful myself, so there's no point you on Twitter going, oh, you know, you're being a hypocrite. It's not about the infidelity.
No, but,
it's about the fact
when
that
you read about that stuff in public, that is hurtful. It's not, you know, we're not saying
why
that
shouldn't Harry say his piece, Jane?
Because
I think he's had to move away from a family that has given... They've done it behind his back.
Because he's using it to make money.
You talk to me about interrupting.
He's making money from it.
Right, the fact is... Well, the royal family make quite a bit of money, Jane, themselves, OK? So the fact is that they have been leaking stories, and we know they have. And as soon as Harry and Meghan, as soon as Meghan was seen as the people's princess, that was game over, because William and Kate have to remain in those positions. Okay. And Meghan was in those rooms way before the royal family. She was on the global stage of charities and everything. She didn't do that just when she got married to Harry. So I think... do what you like, tell your story, because I think it's been absolutely...
The word according to Denise. There we go.
Tell your story, but not sell your story. Exactly. Is it blind support, or do you accept they have made some missteps?
Everybody makes mistakes, but I don't see anything wrong in him getting his wife out of this country. And when they said they wanted privacy from other people's narrative, not from their own story. And this is the only way they've got to tell it. And I'm Team Harry and Meghan.
Take a breath. If you want to watch the interview in full, it, of course, will be on ITV1 and ITVX from 9 o'clock on Sunday. And regarding the altercation that Harry talks about and speaks about in the documentary regarding his fight with William, we, of course, don't condone any violence, even if it is amongst siblings. Right, that's my bit done.